This is Susan Allen from the quiltasylum.com, and today I want to share with you my method for making templates for hand piecing. Many of the products that we sell on our website are Jen Kingwell Designs. She's a big fan of hand piecing, and many of her standalone patterns have accompanying acrylic templates that have the seam allowance added to them, and they're easy to trace and cut out. But her projects, such as the circle game, does not have templates because each block is different, and it would not be cost effective to make an acrylic template for each shape. So you have to make your own, and that can be a little bit intimidating. The old school method would be buy some template plastic, lay it on your pattern. You have to trace every shape accurately and then cut it out with your scissors, which is sometimes a pain. And that's just very time consuming. So I created a way. I'm sure I'm not unique, but I like to make shortcuts. I found a shortcut way to make templates easier. The first thing that I do is I will take and I will make a photocopy onto cardstock. Cardstock is heavier than bond paper. It has a little bit more body to it. So I will make a photocopy, and of course I will double check the measurements to make sure that I have got an accurate photocopy. You can go ahead at this point and start cutting out directly on the line. You want to split that line as best you can with your scissors. If you are going to be using a shape multiple times, you can add another layer to make the template more durable, and that is using contact paper. You can find this at your local discount store in the housewares department where they sell shelf liner. Contact makes a clear paper. So I will put this on top of my design, on top of my lines, just to give my template a little more bulk and a little more longevity. So we would begin by peeling from the back, and sometimes it wants to peel and sometimes it doesn't. The shortcut for that, if you take a pin and score the corner, I tear all the way across the top, get that little piece off, get that corner, and start peeling. But I don't peel the whole thing off, I just peel off a little bit. Now I will turn it over. I will place it on my piece of cardstock. Squeeze out the bubbles as best you can. Grab the paper, pull, smooth, pull, smooth, pull, smooth, and finish. So now my template page has this laminate on top of it, gives it just a little more body, a little more longevity for use. Now I will come with my scissors and I will cut out the shape on the line, splitting the line, and I will get a template like so. So now that you've made your templates, how do you trace them? I have my lap app. Sorry, dropped my template. I have my lap app, which is a great design tool. This padded cover is great for holding your pieces as you work. But if you take the padded cover off, you can see there is a sandpaper surface. I will grab my piece of fabric, put my template on the fabric. You want to pay attention to grain lines. Look at your pattern. As you work from the middle, it's not so important, but of course straight edges, if it's on the outside, you want your straight edges to be on the grain line, and you want your curves on the bias so that they'll bend a little bit. So I will take my pen. Now I would normally do this with a pencil, but I'm using my Sharpie Ultra Fine so that you can see the lines, and I'm going to trace along the edge of my template. Like so. So this is my sewing line. The straight edges, you can just take a ruler, Put your 1/4 inch line on the line that you have just drawn. Add your seam allowance. Seam allowance. Seam allowance. Seam allowance, like so. But how do you get the 1/4 inch on this curve? Well, this is the Jen Kingwell Simple Seam Wheel. And we stock these in the store specifically for this purpose. And I will take it out of the package. Easier said than done. There we go. It's out of the package. It looks just like that. Now I will put my template back on where I started. I put the seam wheel next to this edge, and another reason the contact paper gives you a little bit more raised edge. Put my pin in the hole, run the seam wheel along the edge of my template. Go ahead and just extend those out. And there I have a perfect 1/4 inch seam allowance using the seam wheel. You could eyeball it, but it wouldn't be 1/4 inch. But the seam wheel makes the perfect 1/4 inch mark along your curve. This particular pattern has a lot of curves, so you will need the seam wheel a lot. Now I will just take my scissors and I will cut this out, and it's ready to start sewing. I hope this has helped you in your template making process. It does take a little bit of time, but the results are so worth it because the projects are so beautiful. Again, this is Susan Allen of thequiltasylum.com, and we thank you for watching.